Go ahead and get started. My name is David Turner. I teach entrepreneurship here at San Diego State. I teach the Lavin Entrepreneurship program. I teach Introduction to Entrepreneurship. I also teach entrepreneurship for the United States government and Department of Defense, mostly with military professionals. To my left here, I have Carlos Jimenez. He teaches entrepreneurial mindset to children all over the world, or youth, I should say, all over the world. The most interesting thing about him is he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for spinning a basketball on his finger for 72 hours. It's amazing. Now, on my right, I have Diana Wolfak-Ruiz. She teaches entrepreneurship and negotiation at CEEC, which is right down in Ensenada. The most interesting thing about her is she was swimming the Ensenada Channel, and a cruise ship came through, and she actually swam underneath it. So that's pretty impressive.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, anyways, we're going to start with you. If you can go ahead and talk about what you're going to talk about, and you have 15 minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much. So I invite you to visit Ensenada just to see if what David said was true. So everybody is welcome. And well, today we will talk about the factors that affect the female entrepreneurial behavior. And this is research, an ongoing research that we are doing on the Baja region. We are located on the west part. So some of you just visit our city. And I'm going to present my research team. So one of my colleagues is Dr. Silvia Perez. She's here, and also another colleague from Raul Martinez. We are all faculty members from CEEC University, from the College of Business and Management. So why do we start with this? Well, we identify and we notice that being an entrepreneur in Mexico is complicated. It's a bit more complicated than in any other countries. And we identified that this was a topic that we were very interested in because we have a lot of micro companies or micro companies, and most of them are leading by women. But these women, they don't have the support for the government. So at the beginning, we were thinking that the lack of public policies was one of the main challenges that they were facing. But here what we want to prove, or what we are proving, is that this is not only about the lack of public policies, which is one of the challenges that they are facing, but also when they identify that they have support from the family, from the community, then they start to think that they are capable to start their own business. And when we started this research was short before COVID, and then COVID hits, and then we realized that a lot of companies that they are leading by women, they close through COVID and they remain closed. So we are having this different approach now, that what happened after COVID, and if after COVID some of these companies are still open. So we mainly focus on the tertiary sector, which is retail, which is service and tourists, because it's what are one of the main activities in Ensenada. So the objective is just to prove that to determine or to identify which are the factors that influence the female behavior related to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not very common in Mexico. We are entrepreneurs in our companies, with our families, but when it's about open a business, we have our own limitation, and it's more related to the way we perceive the context and the community we are working at. So our research question was, which are the significant factors that influence this behavior, specifically in the community or the city of Ensenada. Of course, we want to made this research along the region in Tijuana and Mexicali, just to mention the states. And when we start thinking about this, we also want to compare in the north part of Mexico. We start a conversation in Monterrey area, because they already started one research, same questions, same goals. So this will be at the end of the research also a comparative analysis among the states. So we apply the CPSS. So far we have 31 surveys. We made this face-to-face. We talked with the owners. Most of these are the owners of their own company. We were talking with these women. We were asking about all the challenges or the opportunities that they identify, just to know a bit more about what they are doing. So we asked about which are these factors according to the research we make previously. So if there are governmental factors, financial factors, it's a family a topic, is the education factor a topic, the more you study, the less you want to start a business because you are aware of all the challenges that you will face. I know. Or if it's the environment in the business context also a factor. So what we identify at the end so far is that the family, it's really, in the case of the Baja region, a huge indicator when you have the support, even though you are a single mother, if you are living in an underserved community, if you have the support of your family, then you start to believe that it's possible to open a business, regardless the kind of business that you are opening. If you are not receiving support from the government, it's not very significant because at the end, you receive the support from your family, from your friends, from your savings. And so it doesn't matter if the government is changing in Mexico because the programs are changing every 6 months, every 6 years, every 3 years. So it's not something that you will have there all the time. So these were like the central elements so far. We asked them if it makes a difference if they're single or they're married. And most of these women, when they started the business, is when they notice that they don't have the support of a partner. So this was something that we also identify. But if they have a partner, if they feel they have the support, their partner and their family, the extended family in Mexico, then they will start to do that, to start the business. And of course, family was significant, and also they want to start the business if they find out that they have limitations to keep growing on the company, regardless of the size. So the term again, glass ceiling, it's emerging in this study. And of course, with COVID, we identified that women are facing other vulnerabilities, other challenges that was not identified in the past. And one of the main reasons to start a business is just to be the support for the family, to bring food to the table, and because of the size of the companies that we are doing this research. So in the case of this woman, the level of education was not a significant topic as we thought at the beginning. So it's something that we should explore more deeply. If we had made this survey among our students, the result would have been very, very different. But in the case of single mothers, single women, separate or alone, or even with some of them with a partner, this was not even a topic. So we need to make it a larger sample, not only in Ensenada, but also in Tijuana, Mexicali, to have it as a region. We want to present this later as a case study, and then a comparison analysis between the North region and the Baja region, and also Monterrey. But at the end, what we have heard here so far is that the more the complex your context is, the more challenges you will identify. And in the case of the woman, if you don't identify that you have the support of the government or the family and the community, then this will stop you to start a business. And especially in Mexico, where family is a huge support, a huge column in your decision-making process. So thank you so much.
What I'm going to talk about is about the entrepreneurial assemblage theory. The first thing is that we know that educators doesn't use we as educators. Oh, let me tell you before I start. Before I am an educator, I am an entrepreneur. My partner here is the educator, so we have come together and do this mix of information and practice. And even though I study at doctoral level, international commerce, we were studying something different from educating. And we went away from the pedagogy, right? So we don't, what we are teaching, even though the entrepreneur doesn't plan to do the business, and I'm going to show you how. We did a survey about 80 people, and in this survey, we asked them what were the steps that they took, and this is, they put in creative competitive advantage first, location, physical one, or create the entity, find the customer, find the idea, creative competitive advantage, and then find the idea, but the location was just virtual, creative, and then the incorporation, and it goes on and on and on. There was one repetitive question. So they will measure risk, they will do find a location, and then register or find an idea, find the customer, or create a competitive advantage, or other thing, make a business plan, and then find the financial resources. So it goes on and on and on. And if you travel to the winery, this is the real cases. An engineer from UPenn, but his father bought a farm. So was he planning on building a business on a winery? And then we have this guy, from a bagger to a supermarket star.
I remember the last time that I
Right?
le eché gasolina yo myself.
You don't remember the last time you filled up your own car with gas? See, that's when you know you've made it. That's when you know you've made it. That's the truth. If you can't remember the last time you filled up your car with gas, you're doing okay.
So this guy is the most heard guy on Spotify, right? And was he planning on being the #1 musician in Spotify? Probably not. So we start the companies different ways. According to Global Entrepreneurship Week monitor, from 65 countries, 582 million companies or entrepreneurs. When we check out how many names we can give an entrepreneur, they are 562, and it's right there. So we cannot define just what is an entrepreneur. Also, we can decide if we call the business a startup, an enterprise, a company, a corporation, a firm, an SME, MNE, and we still have a zoo. We have zebras, gazelles, unicorns. So what we were trying to do with EAT is we first build the principles. What do you really need to start a business? Okay, even though they are not prescriptive, and we find out that you have to have a customer, you have to create value, you have to do the product, you have to have a transaction, a place, an entrepreneur, somebody who's going to build the company, to register formally or informally, have a process for it, resources, and then something that from there, then we said, well, what do we need to build? And knowing that these principles will run from person to person in a different order, so we decided to use the entrepreneurial assemblage theory to build. So we did, let me go this way. So I want to go to, even though we have a high rate of failure, and we are teaching probably in the same way, everybody with the canvases, what we did with the assemblage theory is we took let me try to start here. The enterprise life cycle from here, and put the entrepreneurial assemblage theory together. And what happened there is we started building planes. Planes, it's the assembly of different elements within the plane, And this is what we came up with. Those are the stages, right? Everybody knows them, and the curve. So the entrepreneur starts building here in the planes. That's running. Let me see if. These are typical planes. We find out that we can build 15 planes, different planes. So what they refer in the planes, we have the cognitive, the social, we have, and then they start appearing through the curve, right? And from there, that's how we started. It's difficult to translate from Spanish in English in a short way. But then what we have been doing, we took the 80 steps from the Notre Dame program. We put it in this way of building the company, and we saw that everybody was doing different things, even though they were a prescriptive 80 steps. And we came up with this. You need the resources, the structure, the process, skills, knowledge, competence, and artifacts. Artifacts are the tools that you as educators use to teach all this. Okay, so there are many artifacts in each plane that you can use. So, and limiting ourselves to just one artifact doesn't make sense. Okay, because the entrepreneur has many, come from different contexts and start from different places. So this is a custom, typical plane, and it will grow or shorten depending on where the entrepreneur is. And you start building these processes, these artifacts, the structure, the knowledge, the skills, the competences. And then you have one of them, it's from a different plane. And then you start using and building whatever the next plane is coming in. You see, when I go to prototype, that's from another plane, so I have to go and find out what's the other plane and start using these different tools and artifacts and processes and the structure for it. So at the end of the day, this will look like this. Okay, depending on whatever the entrepreneur is, it will use different instruments around the curve.
Okay, we have 15 or 20 minutes for questions. I believe you had a question.
Yeah, I was curious about the research and after the fact, intuitively makes sense that family support is the most important component. But I'm curious if the capital required to start up a business was a variable that was factored into the family support. Like having the cash and capital to start something.
Yeah, they raised the capital mainly from the family and friends. So it was not a big topic. And we are talking about a micro business, micro companies. So they don't need more than maybe $5,000, $10,000 to start a company. So we are not talking about bigger companies. But in the case of Mexico, the seed money that the government is giving to the entrepreneur, it's among those quantities. So when we don't have these resources, they don't have a way to start from the government support. So they have to ask family, they have to ask friends if they could borrow the money to start the business. So our first thought was with the change of the government and then COVID, they don't have the supports. And then our government, our local government, state government changed from one party to, well, it was the same party but different program. So what happened is that all the programs, every time in Mexico we start with a new government, we start from zero, from scratch. So they don't have these programs, they don't have the support. So for us, we thought that it would be a significant variable for that. So we start to explore if it was the family an issue, was starting alone without partners, because most of these women, they did not trust a partner to start the business. So they started the business by their own. So then here the family support was helping them to take care of the children, to help them with the house, but also to give some financial support to start the business. So, yeah. You're welcome.
I have a question going along that same line. So I do business in Mexico. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a technology business there. So I over the 10 years, I know a lot of people. And I've met some women who literally have put together like a convenience store in front of their house, right? But then I've also met some very, very powerful women who run $100 million businesses. Do those powerful women typically start from a powerful family? Do they go through a particular framework, maybe at the Monterrey Institute of Technology? Did you survey them?
We have not surveyed them, but my colleagues here, and I'm sure we will keep that in mind, because we start with these small businesses. And we wanted to start with company or business that they were already established, because we have a lot of women. If you visit the wine region, for sure you will have seen all these women in front of their houses selling a lot of things, but these are kind of informal business, and as soon as they see the authority coming, maybe some of them will have the product. So our main focus was to go with the women that follow like the
micro-entrepreneurship, right?
Yes, and to know about their entrepreneurship journey, and to see if they want to start a formal business, which were the challenges, and at the end, which are the opportunities that they are identifying. Because in Mexico, and you already know, in many countries, to start something in an informal way is very easy. You open the trunk of your car and you have clothes and you have a lot of products in front of your house, but this was a different story. And in the case of the powerful woman, most of them come from their family business, that they have the support of the family, but also in the wine region, we have a lot of successful stories of women that they start maybe with a few boxes of wine and then they are growing and growing. But it's a specific sector. We are not doing this research in the wine region because it's a different story, it's a different approach. The government is giving them a lot of resources, not only financial, but also with infrastructure, also with networking, helping them to strengthen the cluster. So it was different.
One of my favorite wineries is Tres Mujeres.
I love them.
So I know of three.
Yes, and they were just friends, not even the best friends, but they was friends that they identified that working together, they will get access to better places, more suppliers, and they could offer the winery, the restaurant, the whole experience.
Yeah. So regarding your framework, where is that framework being rolled out? Are you rolling that out through your institute?
We roll it out. We have been working with that framework for about 2 or 3 years. We just came up and say, well, what we are doing, let's build it in a theory way. So yes, it works. We use it in all our programs. We give programs from kids and pre-kinder to teach them how to be entrepreneurs up to university level, and we are using this same system we put it in practice with the University of Notre Dame, changing maybe what they have done about the 80 steps, but putting in the assembly theory.
Do you think that this framework applies to micro-entrepreneurship as much as it does to kind of the big idea?
Yes.
Like what have you seen there?
Yes, and what we have done is I work in Yes company with big corporations like Medtronics and Banco Popular, and we have built this plane in operational excellence for them, and that's how we have been operating. And when we're going to talk about a mindset, we use a different plane to just build the mindset for the employees of these big banks or big corporations, and same plane for the students who have never done an entrepreneur course, but we're working with the mindset. Mm-hmm. So yes, we have seen.
What sort of time frame do you find it takes to get through that program?
It all depends, and this is a great question. We have seen progress. We keep track of our students, our participants, of the 80 steps, and I will talk about one specific program. We have seen that some of them are already at 85% of the 80 tasks, right? And some of them are 2%. So it will depend on each person. And we, as a company, decided to run the same program, building a small company just to see how it was working. We started a car wash, and with 34% of the task done, in that area, we're already running the car wash. So it will we still need to do some other things within that small company from the same program. So it will depend on the entrepreneur at the end of the day.
So I noticed with that curve, am I right in assuming that your planes are sequential, but the elements in each plane are done at the user's?
They are not sequential because you can use, let's say you need to build your mindset first. And from your mindset, you have to build the competence. But to build the competence, you need to build the skills, the technology, the knowledge, the attitudes. So all these things that compose the plane of mindset.
Which should be done first.
That should be done first, but you will still need it when you are in the fifth phase. So you cannot, once you build it, then you keep going with that, and maybe persistence, that is one of the elements within the plane of mindset. You have to keep it all the way through the end of your journey.
Thank you.
So I understand that that entrepreneurs start from different places. So some start with a product, engineers do that, they start with a product, and they've got it, and they have to find customers. So I understand the plane stuff, and then I understand how you have clients, large clients that you're working with, but how are you engaging people from the community, and are you engaging your students with those, or are you finding entrepreneurs and then training them? So I'm just trying.
Both, we have make different calls. We call people to roll into the program. Once we check where they at, then we'll start with that. It's very tailor-made for each one of them, and that's it's easier. We're not giving just one class, and that's it. We accommodate. It's tailor-made.
So it's kind of a consulting arrangement over time.
Yes.
In a sense.
Yes.
But is it student-led consulting, or is it you consulting?
Well, we have a mix. We do have students that we don't call them consultants in Puerto Rico because that will make liability real hard. So we call them mentoring or assistant. But yes, we have these students that we have passed through this program, and they can help the entrepreneurs going on.
So in the few minutes we have left, I have one more question. I think a big part of entrepreneurship is the ability to pivot, right? And so as you kind of go towards a goal with an idea, and then all of a sudden you find out, well, the market's going to listen better over here or over there. How many of these women in these micro-entrepreneurship situations do you think had to pivot to kind of meet a market?
Oh, I think most of them.
Yeah.
Because they are doing things that they were not thinking that they will be capable of, and they have to adjust what they're doing, the kind of services. They start a business without doing a market research, without doing what we usually tell our students. So they have to make this adjustment through their journey. And especially because most of them are women with 1 or 2 employees. So most of the things that they're doing by themselves. They are planning their long-term vision for 3 years, 5 years, because they don't have the possibilities to do it in a really long term. So they have to make adjustments according to the government, according to the community, according to the competences that is around the area, because you could find one of these business, and then 3 blocks later, in 2 months or 3, you will find another one. So I think it's part of the learning process, and so far that what they could say is that they are learning by themselves. They are not going to these training programs. They receive maybe the help from their oldest son that is studying the university, but they are studying just based on the experience.
And how does your framework help with pivoting for these entrepreneurs? Is there a specific area or plane around pivot?
I don't believe too much in pivoting, so that's a personal thing. I do think that the entrepreneurs, they think that they do have a product to service, and they will listen to the customer, or they will listen to their pockets and see that it's not working. So then they will go to the next phase. So you build I will talk about myself first. I built a car wash, and the property was too expensive, so I needed to build another business within the property. So I was not pivoting, I was just answering a financial situation.
It's called a pocket call, right?
Well, yeah, and when I started the car wash and the quick loop chain that we built in Puerto Rico, then I started hearing the customer that he wanted to have a more detailed wash, and then we were a 10-minute service in the car wash and the quick loop. So I started listening, and we built a detail center, and then that same customer was saying, now I'm waiting here 1 hour. Then I built a cafeteria inside the business. So I don't know if that's pivoting or that's listening just the customer, what he wants, or the pocket what he needs.
Great.
And David, I would like to add, and Michael Morris said it this morning, it's just making adjustments through the process, through your everyday situation, and that's what we were doing even during our research. I mean, we started, and then COVID hit, and then we were doing all these surveys and face to face, and then we have to change. So we are doing that every time, but what we are identifying is which are the opportunities that, in this case, these female entrepreneurs are identifying in order to overcome all these obstacles that they are facing.
We got tired on writing proposals for finding funds. So we started a consulting business within our entrepreneurial company just to get the cash flow going on. So you start, just your mindset will allow you to go different path.
Cash flow through revenue is a novel
Yes.
idea, right?
I think the most important thing you said was empathy, listening to what the customers want, listening to what people need, you can supply.
Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you.